Today on the channel, I got something to say. I got some Misfits figures today from Super 7. We got The Fiend and Jerry Only.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Misfits Super 7 unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we got The Fiend, we got Jerry Only from the He-Man style 5 points of articulation line. But of course, for all your Super 7 needs, including these two, make sure you hit up jaystoysandgames.com. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15%. Yes, 15%. That's exactly what I did. I went over to Jay's, pick these two up. Danzig, not in yet, but I will get the Danzig figure when the time does come. Now, we did unbox two different Danzig versions of these style of figures on the channel. We'll do some comparisons of those later on in this video. And of course, we're going to do this video like we do all the other videos on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And what can you say about the Misfits? Of course, punk rock icons, legends, whatever you want to call them. Been around a heck of a long time, but amazing. Very little bit of output with the Glenn Danzig years. Obviously, Jerry Only grabbing Mr. Graves and doing a few albums that way. Jerry Only taking the mic himself, doing albums that way. So they've had some ups and downs, the career of the Misfits, and they have somewhat reunited, not on new music, but tours. I did get to see the original Misfits lineup on that first tour where they reunited. It was pretty cool to see that. I think I saw that in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, at the Allstate Arena. So it was nice to see the original Misfits. It was a rough night for Danzig on vocals that night, unfortunately, but the Misfits have been around for a long time, and it's a weird dynamic, I guess. The Misfits, like a lot of bands out there, very popular, but a lot of people that wear Misfits shirts, Misfits garb, never heard any of their music, so that's always interesting, too. One of those bands where maybe the iconic imagery is bigger than the band itself, which isn't bad when you're cashing those merchandise checks, I am sure. But there is a little bit of a wrestling theme with this one. Of course, we remember Jerry Only from the Michael Graves years of the Misfits being on WCW Monday Nitro. Of course, Vampiro, a part of that as well. So I guess you can put this Jerry Only in your WWE Superstars collection if you really wanted to. So you can get a little wrestling love out of this. Obviously, the He-Man style, you can put this in your He-Man collection or in your music collection. So a very versatile pack right here, or twosome is what I'll say. But let's dive into it. And let's start with Jerry Only. Instead of the mascot, I guess, we'll start with Jerry Only here. Of course, Jerry Only, bassist for the Misfits, as we do know, but looking good. Very cool packaging here. I love that they're using a little bit of the album artwork inspired into the packaging. I always like that of reaction figures with Iron Maiden, Motorhead stuff. It's always cool to get a little bit of that album artwork in there, and they did do that here. Of course, 5 points of articulation style in the package there. Jerry Only looking only like a Jerry Only could look. And as Todd McFarlane told me before we started filming, he said, Jerry Only looks like a guy that's going to get right into Club Grayskull. They're going to move the chain, let him right in, skip the line, do whatever you want, because of that high collar right there, of course. Makes a lot of sense if you ask me. 14 and up on here, adult collectible. You 13-year-olds, get the heck out of here. You can't handle the Misfits. Cool packaging. You got a little cross-sell there, jibber jabber. What's it say at the top? Destructive anti-heroes of punk. Hellbound and ready for horror. The Horror Warriors, the Misfits. So we do get Danzig's skeleton, the evil Lord of Darkness. Jerry Only, the mighty master of monstrosities. And then the Fiend, the Horror Warrior of Doom. So very cool. Like I said, Danzig coming soon. We'll have to unbox him by himself on the channel. Going to be interesting with all the news out of Super 7 the last week or so. Where do lines like this go? Are we going to get more stuff like this? Could we get Iron Maiden figures like this? Can you imagine if we got all the different Eddies like this? Sign me up, sign me up. But let's get Jerry Only out of the package here. See what's going on, see what all the fuss is about. And there's always fuss with Jerry Only. See you later, goodbye. Now, there's a lot of people that do not like the Jerry Only era of the Misfits. There's a lot of Misfits purists out there, and I get it, that'll only listen to the Danzig stuff. Personally, for me, I didn't enjoy the Grave stuff. Obviously, the Danzig stuff was better for most people. I didn't enjoy the Grave stuff, but I actually did enjoy the Jerry Only solo years, or solo Misfits, basically where he was singing the songs for the Misfits. How about that? See you later, goodbye, right off the screen. I enjoyed that era of Jerry Only, because obviously he played the Misfits songs and he played a lot of old rock standards, things like that. But I always enjoyed it because I was on tour. Now, the Misfits were opening up for Motorhead, and I probably saw the Misfits 6 times open up for the Motorhead over the years. And I always liked the Misfits, but it gave me a little bit more respect for the Jerry Only version. Like I said, though, a lot of people not in with the Jerry Only version, and you like what you like, you don't what you don't. We know how that goes, of course. Little plastic prison, just a little plastic prison, but we got twist ties around the ankles. But we're gonna get Jerry out of the package. There it is. Only, whoa, watch out. Watch out. So we got Jerry Only looking pretty darn cool, if you ask me. Now we do get that crazy bass. Almost looks like a BC Rich is what it reminds me of. You got the spiked up strap over around the corner. Could be definitely used as a weapon if you need to with all these spikes on it. You got the skull in the end with a spike. Looking very cool. Now this is one of those versatile accessories you can use with different figures if you really wanted to. You want to put the Cold Slither band together, you could use this bass guitar, put it on Ripper, and you're off to the races. But looking very, very nice. Looks like it's a 4-string bass, and I guess that's what he would play, a 4-string bass. So he's not playing any 6-string or 8-string basses. He's not Geddy Lee at the end of the day, as we know Jerry Only. But looking good right there. But now, diving into Jerry Only himself, he's got the Devil's Lock right down there in the front. Quite the hairstyle. Maybe I should adopt that hairstyle. Who knows? I love the spiked vest over the top, looking good. Once again, you got that big old high collar, easy for me to say. On the back there, you do got the skull here, the Fiend logo, looking good. You got the spine down the back, and then you got all these Road Warrior-like spikes going everywhere, looking very cool. Got some forearm guards, looking very nice. Once again, spikes all over the place. That's why these 13-year-olds can't handle it. Too many spikes on this guy, though. Prick their finger. We don't want that going on. Black tights down here into the black boots. You got some big old shin guards here. Not Terry Steinbach, that's for sure. And you got the Fiend logo in the shin guards into the black boots. Looking pretty cool, all things considered. Now, he does got one hand splayed out down. You got one hand up, of course, gripping. That is to hold his bass guitar. He's ready to rock. He's ready to rock and roll. And you got the tattoo on the side over here. Very, very pale skin tone here. Very, very pale skin tone. But man, oh man, does look good. There's no mistaking this for Jerry Only. I know my Jerry Onlys. This is definitely him. Playing the 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a mouth. Playing those human hits. But man, got some red line. Got some paint going there. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. There's no doubt. Now, are we going to get the rest of the Misfits? Where's Doyle von Frankenstein? Can we get his figure? Maybe. Maybe. How about Dave Lombardo? Is he still drumming for the Misfits? He is? Thanks, Todd. I wondered about that. Arms all the way around here on this one, of course. Head back and forth, side to side. Waist back and forth, side to side. Got those big old Jerry Only splits. Not really, but you do get some movement there. Leg does go up if you need to. And that is it as far as articulation. 5 points articulation, old school He-Man style. We know how that goes. And he does fit on a Ringside Collectible stand. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% at Ringside Collectibles. Make sure you do get the Mattel stand, as I always do say. But Jerry Only, not bad. And a lot of people, like I said, not a big fan of Jerry Only in his, I keep wanting to say solo career, but his time under the vocals of the Misfits. Like I said, I was a big fan, so I like this. And I could see people that maybe aren't big Misfits fans picking this up to put with the WWE Superstars just to give a little extra wrestling flair. So you could do that if you wanted to. I'm sure you could customize it too if you wanted to as well. But now, diving over to this one, which is very interesting. It is the Fiend. Now, not a real character, obviously. It's the guy on the merchandise. The Crimson Ghost, as he's known in some circles from the movie way back in the day. Very iconic, and it's crazy that this is thought of as the Misfits, not that movie way back in the 40s, 50s, whatever it was, probably 40s, who knows, maybe 30s, I don't know. I don't know what it was. But more people think of him with the Misfits here, and I like the idea they created a character out of him, and it makes a lot of sense. And you can see this guy squaring off with Skeletor, maybe tag teaming with Skeletor as well. So a very, very cool idea. I think that makes a lot of sense here. Misfits logo, same packaging design, of course, figure in the plastic bubble. Cross-sell, jibber-jabber at the bottom, same read at the very top. 5.5 Misfits action figures. Collect them all, as they do say. But looking good. I like it. I like it. Let's get it out. Let's get out this Fiend. We're going to join the Fiend Club right here today. See you later. Goodbye. Can I get this out? There we go. See you later. Goodbye. We do got the pumpkin staff. How about that? A little staff with a little pumpkin at the top. Maybe not the most fearsome thing going on. Now, it is a big bone. I'm not sure the bone of what. That is a long bone. Haven't seen a bone like this since this morning getting out of the shower, probably. Who knows? But very, very interesting. Very cool pumpkin, all in white with a little black. And there it is, the old Fiend right there. And of course, once again, locked in at the ankles. We're locking them in at the ankles down here. We don't want anybody escaping out of the package for sure. But very fun. I can imagine a lot of people keeping these on card as well. Put them with your Masters of the Universe, same kind of carding style. That makes a lot of sense. So versatile figures here. See you later, goodbye. And now we're getting down to the old Fiend, the Misfits Fiend Club. You see that right in the skeleton bones right in the front there. Got the logo looking very good. Skeleton wraps all the way around the back. But besides that, you just got a plain black body throughout. Just painted black. Makes a lot of sense. You get a forearm guard over here, so a little bit of something different. Black trunks, and then you got black boots on him. But then you get to the head. It is the Crimson Ghost, looking good. Looking only like a skeleton could look if he was part of the Misfits, of course. A lot of teeth going on, like a young Andre the Giant. Rows upon rows of teeth is what it looks like there. Got the big hood over there, very Skeletor styling, of course. So like I said, he could be a right-hand man to Skeletor. Maybe, you know, something like that. You got Skeletor over here. You got King Hiss here. You got Hordak here. And you got the Fiend up here. Who knows? He could be one of those pillars of all that. But his staff does give him a little extra specialness here. It's like he's going to conjure up a spell or something like that. Now, articulation can be identical to Jerry only, so we don't need to really walk through that. But this one is very plain, but in its plainness, it speaks a lot. You see this, you know this is the Crimson Ghost. You know this is, of course, from the Misfits. And, of course, he should also fit on a Mattel Ringside Collectible stand using discount code Kyle to save 10%. What do you know? There it is, old Jerry only. Old Fiend right there. And I'm just missing the skeleton Danzig, a very iconic looking Danzig when he wore that skeleton outfit. We'll get it on the channel eventually. I guess stay tuned for that. But speaking of Danzig, did somebody say Danzig? Oh, it was me? Okay. We did get two of the previous ones we unboxed from the Samhain area. Salwin, I know. Get that era there. And then you get the Mother era, the solo era of Glenn Danzig. Can we get a modern Glenn Danzig? Yeah, maybe not. Okay, I get it. And then, of course, talked about the Fiend member. He put Skeletor right there. They could be joining up. The purple and black attack. How about that? Ready to go. But a very versatile toy line. If you're a Misfits collector, it's great to have. If you're a He-Man collector, it's great to build out Eternia a little bit more. Or you're a wrestling collector. Maybe you want the Misfits represented with your WWE superstars. You could do that as well. So a fun little set here. I guess set of two figures. Danzig on the way, make it a complete set. But not a bad piece of business if you ask me. And definitely worth the pickup. I enjoy stuff like this, obviously, from the wrestling aspect, He-Man aspect to the Misfits. Those are three triangle. That is the triangle I enjoy, so I'm here for this. But are you here for this? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to both of my YouTube channels. Check out YouTube channel memberships and Patreon for early access to all the videos and my new podcast, of course, The Kyle Peterson Show, every single Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found, with video cast on YouTube. Check it out if you have not already. Maybe we'll deep dive some Misfits over there as well. SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, KylePetersonShow at gmail.com. And my book, The Complete Guide to the ECW Original San Francisco Toy Makers, available right now, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and of course, via me if that is your thing. So for a little Misfits unboxing, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
Get that real guitar.